So Mary and Joseph got married at last, and Jamie realised, almost as importantly in his mind, that he was going to be the Messiah's actual brother. It was an exciting time, heady with anticipation, as there were only a few months until the baby arrived. They needed to get everything ready. They'd been entrusted with the most important baby ever, so he must have the best. Mary worked hard, making all his shawls, blankets, and little clothes. The wools and linen spun the finest she was able, so that they almost felt like silk. Joseph crafted a crib beyond what Jamie had ever seen, with swirls of flowers, fruit, leaves, and vines carved all over it. Jamie carefully smoothed beeswax into every detail, polishing till it gleamed. The baby would know he was born to be a king just from the magnificence of his bed. In the evenings, there was a chance to rest and talk. As Mary got bigger, Jamie would often sit next to her, cradling her tummy. He whispered to his little stepbrother, his mouth pressed close to the folds of Mary's dress. "I'm going to look after you and help you. And when you fight Herod and the Romans, I'll fight next to you, and we'll throw them out together. And you can give me a crown if you want. It doesn't have to be as big as yours, but just so as people can see that I'm a prince. I'm your brother, and no one will ever hurt you, because I'll look after you." Everything was going very smoothly as the time drew near. Everything except the Romans. Or was it God? Either way, some greater power was adamant that things would not go the way the young couple had planned, and drove them so far from their intended path. The beautiful crib would be covered in cobwebs before a baby would ever use it. The Roman Emperor Augustus, or was it God, decided that everyone should be forced to go back to their town of origin throughout his whole vast empire because he wanted to count them. So Jamie and the other boys were startled when a lesson with Rabbi Asher came to an abrupt end as fathers started turning up early to grab their sons. "There's a census," explained Eli breathlessly to the bemused rabbi. "Everyone to their hometown as soon as possible to swear allegiance to the emperor." "Come on, Clop, get your shoes on." "My strap's got tangled," said Clop, fiddling with it. "Carry it," ordered Eli, marching him out hopping. "You too, Jamie. Your dad's expecting you at home." All was confusion as Jamie got back, with Joseph and Mary falling over each other and changing their minds every few minutes about what they should take, who should go, and how long they would be away. The best plan they could come up with was that Jamie should stay at home with Mary so that Joseph could travel faster alone. The village his father had come from was only a day's walk from Nazareth if he really hurried. He could be registered and back before Mary needed his support. But then a Roman soldier called at the door to check on their preparations. "Which tribe?" he snapped, without bothering with a greeting. The Romans never wished peace upon anybody, but they did at least usually bark something about health in Latin. "Oh, Judah," said Joseph, surprised at the question. Judah, muttered the soldier, trawling through his scroll. "Which family?" Joseph was puzzled. Did he really want the whole Joseph, son of Jacob, son of Mathan, son of Eleazar, son of Eliud thing? He wasn't sure how far back he could go without looking it up. "Which ancestral line?" sighed the soldier, fed up with all the Hebrew names that were hard for him to pronounce, and all too aware how many houses he had left. "We're descended from King David," said Jamie haughtily, hoping the soldier would realise the implications and know that his days of bossing them about were numbered. "David," "Son of Jesse," said the soldier, winding to the right bit of the scroll. "Born in Bethlehem. Get to it." Mary turned pale and had to sit down. Joseph looked at him aghast. Bethlehem in Judea? That pitiful little village whose name was hardly worth the ink it took to write it on a map? That was all the way to Jerusalem. "What?" said Joseph weakly, hoping there must be some mistake. "My family haven't lived there for many hundreds of years." "David's line, Bethlehem, also known as Ephratatha," confirmed the soldier, double-checking the all-important scroll. "That's where you're headed. Off you go." Having dropped his bombshell, he left them to it. Bethlehem. Of course. "I'm so sorry," said Joseph. "I'd totally forgotten." Mary looked at him blank, as Joseph racked his brains to remember. "It's the prophet Micah. But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you're small among the people of Judah, out of you will come someone whose origins are of old, from ancient times. He will rule Israel for me, and stand in the strength of the Lord, to shepherd them like a flock." "David?" asked Jamie. "He had been a shepherd boy before he became a king." "No, Messiah," said Joseph. "That passage was written long after the time of David. There's even something about she who is in labour, giving birth in Bethlehem." He glanced at Mary, whose head was swimming with how many prophets had written about her all those hundreds of years ago, and what she now had to do. "I'll borrow a donkey for you to ride on," Joseph promised. "No, I'll buy one. I'll find something to sell. But it looks like it has to be Bethlehem." They all set about the task, splitting up to achieve things. Jamie headed to the baker's. Other children were on the same errand, hurriedly fetching the bread their mothers had brought in earlier in the day to cook in the large ovens. Jamie's classmates were swapping news of where they had to go. No one else had a journey like Jamie's ahead of them. Ptolemy paused a moment from trying to work out which loaves were his mother's, when he heard Jamie's destination, as if it had pinged some buried memory. "Bethlehem," repeated Clop in amazement. "Which tribe did your dad tell them?" "Judah," said Jamie. "I thought you were Judah." "Yeah, David's clan," said Clop. "But Dad told the soldiers we're Zebulun. Loads of them lived round here in the old days. We're only going up the road. Get your dad to go back and say he forgot." "No," said Jamie, bravely, trying to make his pronouncement sound as weighty as it honestly was. "It has to be Bethlehem." Ptolemy turned to stare at Jamie with a weird look on his face. "But you, Bethlehem what's her name, even though you're so titchy?" "That's right," said Jamie, willing him to guess right there in front of everyone. But whatever earth-shaking conclusions Ptolemy was jumping to, unlike Jamie, he wisely and infuriatingly knew the importance of guarding his tongue. Not put off, Jamie remembered the sturdy donkey Ptolemy's father owned, and tried another tack to capitalize on this dawning realization. "We just need a donkey now," he mused, as if thinking aloud, "for Mary to ride, to keep her and the baby safe." "I'm on it," said Ptolemy. I mean, not literally, obviously." And he scooped up some random loaves and rushed out. He was true to his word. They were the proud owners of a donkey within no time, and had barely finished getting their things together when the soldiers came round again, ordering everyone to get going. And that is how it happened, that the Romans and their unhealthy obsession with counting things, and God's mighty plan, fixed from ancient times, collided into one perfect storm, so great it was about to split time itself into before and after, and chased our little family and a second-hand donkey onto the long, hard road to Bethlehem.